Jury Duty was the very first Big Brother podcast to bring you Julie Judgment. And then we took our opinions up north and we started to assess Arissa's attire. And now we're taking our opinions down under and we will be surmising Sonia's style. All of that plus 2 eviction cycles tonight or this afternoon, depending on where you are on Jury Duty. Let's get into it. All right, as always, I am your boy, Kyle Petty, and I am joined by what did I say? I said ever so fabulous last time, so I will say the wonderfully fantastic and ever so handsome John Dunphy. Gina Morgino has better things to do. She's skipping out. This is Jury Duty. You can find us on the socials at BB Jury Duty. We are your new favorite Big Brother podcast. I know, presumptuous of us. All right, so let's get into the whole thing here. It is Thursday, May 26th, at least here in America. For our Australian friends, I suppose it's the 27th, in the middle of your workday. We're so sorry, or you're welcome. And we are chatting about Big Brother Australia. Okay. Lots of things happened this week. Oh, yeah. I love this double eviction cycle thing. There's just so much to talk about, so much to do. We saw our very first actual head of house vote. Yeah. We saw how that went. All right. We saw Miss Telly sitting at the head of the table as the outgoing HOH. I don't know if they call it that in Australia, but that's how we get down in the US of A. I shouldn't be talking about us. I shouldn't be talking about us. This is anything to be proud of. This country's a mess. Much like this head of house vote. A mess. Wow. I'm on one tonight. Operation Shambles in full effect, but for the OGs. Because Drew said, fuck it. All right. I'm voting Alicia. Yeah, this was really something. I didn't expect the head of house vote to be right at the table. I thought maybe we would go in secret and discuss it on the side, with Big Brother, like the way that we do our regular every other vote, Right. Oh, right. No, this is for everyone to hear. And boy, was I here for it. So many delicious things to dine upon. Tully and fucking Reggie. No, it was Tully and Estelle walking up like, what was that? What just happened? Right. Yeah. Alicia Wins had a house largely because of Drew.
This was the first moment that I started to dislike Drew.
This was your first?
Personally. I thought that he was...
Okay. Right, because did the Sam thing happen yet? No, the thing with Joel didn't happen yet. Right, no.
Right.
Not at this point. That's what's hard about this. Because now, chronologically, so much stuff goes on that I don't even remember where in the week it happened.
I know. That's the thing. Because so much happens every week. And by the end of the week, I was thinking, about all the mistakes that Tim made.
Tim?
But,
Tim.
But I understand why Tim did certain things that he did this week. And I think a lot of it has to do with this vote. Sam didn't even vote for Alicia. Sam voted for Reggie to be HOH. Yeah.
Drew. Which was lame-o.
Oh, yeah. Total throwaway. Doesn't want to be attached to any decision one way or the other. So you just
Which is that even somebody that you would ever want to play with? Would you want to play with somebody like that who can't even double down on something like that? Where everyone else very easily can. Everybody else had no bones about it. I don't know, Sam. That's another star that's really dimming for me. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I totally agree.
Although I can't wait to get to the cage.
I
can't wait to get to that.
I agree.
But obviously that's for later. So okay, yes, Alicia Wins had a house. OG's obviously not pleased.
Yeah.
Do you think this was Drew's best move?
I mean, I don't know. I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to
Because
say.
like it just so many. That's the thing we were just saying. Like so many things happened this week. I mean, we're used to BBUS where it's one eviction cycle.
Boring, snoozo, nothing ever happens.
Exactly.
Yawn City, population 3.8 million.
Right.
That's how many viewers we get. Not us, but the show itself.
Right. But the I mean, even the fact that BBUS is dominated by the HOH, right? Like each week, like the HOH has so much power, and in this, it doesn't feel like the HOH has that much power. Like Tully had a big power, being able to save somebody.
You get a little twist, yeah.
But overall, like this, there's just so much going on. The person that has the power in the house, the HOH, all week doesn't even really have that much power. Like it's just things are changing on a dime. Yeah, and it's just it's crazy. I feel like I couldn't understand why Drew did this in the beginning of the week. Honestly, I didn't get it.
Because I think his intention is to align himself with the newbies. And I don't know that that's necessarily such a bad move. I just feel like maybe it's a little bit too early. But I guess if you don't do it now, their numbers are not going to be anything. It's not going to be worth it. But it's like you do have to start looking like down the road. Where do I feel like I place in this group of OGs? And unfortunately, and I don't know. We don't know these people. From what I can see and from what the edit is suggesting to me, Drew's not at the top at the OGs. Right. I see the top being Tim, Reggie, and Dave.
I agree, except I feel like Drew seems to have a habit of, and listen, you and I are both fairly new to BB Australia, and I am newer than you are. You've actually seen, a season. But it's just odd to me because at this stage in the game, the OGs had the numbers, right?
They do.
And Drew is with Sam, who is a newbie, and that's another number then for the OGs. So it's like, why wouldn't you stick with the numbers in the house at this point?
Yes, but then,
and I think that kind of goes to what you're saying. I think about is it too early to do what Drew is doing? Because the OGs
is
still
it
have
too
the numbers.
early? But then at the same time, like if you wait too much longer, the newbies won't even have enough numbers that this makes any sense. You would have made that switch too late. And then now the OGs would so vastly outnumber the newbies that now you're going to find yourself at the bottom of that. And then you're kind of ripe for picking from Tim because listen, as much as we like Tim, we really saw this week that he is really not to be trusted. There's really nobody that he is really going to be keeping safe other than himself. And that's a little scary.
Right. That's totally true. Although the one thing that I'll say is that, the last episode of the week, right? Episode 10 opened with Tim saying oh, there's Drew. I thought we were supposed to be working together. He's just sucking face with Sam. And this was on the heels of Drew voting for Alicia to be HOH over Dave. You know what I mean? So I can understand Tim's frustration. And I feel like Drew, at some point during this past week may have been demoted to the bottom of the OGs. But we saw in that cage, the party cage, Sam blew up Tim's spot. Tim said that he would have put a vote on Estelle. So who is the bottom? Estelle might have been the bottom of the OGs, not Drew, because clearly Tim wants to work with Drew, but there seems to always be a girl in the way. You know what I mean?
Right, but I mean, that's just where Estelle falls now. Yeah. If him and Estelle have such a strong relationship outside of the house, but he's still willing to do it there, then what would make somebody like Drew think that he is now, what's the word? Invincible.
Yeah.
Although we're so jumping ahead. We're so jumping ahead because before all this,
I
Estelle
know we're
won.
jumping all over the place. All over the place. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you're really jumping. I was forced to jump with you. Anytime I get to put the blame on you, I'm gonna jump on it because usually it's me. But Estelle won the nomination challenge. Okay. Which really, really great for her. This challenge was, holding up the little thingies, make sure the balls don't fall out. I thought it was a little whack that Taras just had one ball fall out and he was just done. I thought this would be more of like, just maybe you get to take a little break and some of your balls fall, because we have seen challenges like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was odd. It was odd, honestly, because Johnson, I think, had the same thing where like a ball or two fell out.
Yeah,
but it was weird to me because that happened to a couple of people, and like Big Brother didn't say anything. He didn't say like, "Oh, you're out," but then like a couple of balls. From what I saw, like people would have their hands up, they'd be holding up their trap door, and then like they started to fall, and a ball or two would fall out. Like Big Brother, from what I saw, Big Brother wasn't saying anything. Like, "Oh, one of your balls fell, so you're out." But it would be like other people being like, "Oh, your balls are falling," and then they would just like let it go.
Oh,
so I don't really know.
I don't pay close attention to comps like this because I'm just like, oh, when it's over, and we'll just know who wins. Like it doesn't really matter. Like once it gets down to like maybe like the last 3 to 4, then I do start paying a little bit more attention just in case there's some deal making or something. But otherwise, like I don't really pay close attention to these like endurance-y type things. It's a lot of chatter, a lot of whatever.
There were some deals in this comp, by the way, at least one. So
what was it?
I believe there was 3 people left. It was Estelle, JC, and Joel. They were all holding up their trap doors. JC turned to Estelle.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Mm-hmm.
JC turned to Estelle and said, "Hey, like, am I good with you?" And she was like, "Yeah, of course." So he dropped, and we found that JC was not good with Estelle.
No. That brings us right into the next caption. We found the entire J squad, Johnson, JC, and Joel, all on the, y'all don't call it the block. We call it the block. They're on the block. Yeah. All thanks to Estelle.
Yeah.
Can we talk about my new bae?
Who's that?
You know who it is.
Oh, I know who it is. I just want you
Taras.
to say
it. We love Taras. Sorry.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Not who I thought I'd fall in love with. But when he said, "I'm really happy, like with basic things, just sitting and looking at an egg," and I went, "Oh my god, that is just the cutest thing I ever did here." Yeah. So for 50 cents, I can make you very happy.
Yeah.
Go down, to the discount mart. Just get you a couple eggs, just sitting down in front of you, and you're good. That's great.
Right.
So much time to watch more Big Brother.
He is so like weird and funny and just like seems like I love him so much. I think that Taras,
so fun.
He might be my favorite newbie.
Really?
Yeah.
There he is.
I mean, aside from the fact that like he's a musician, but he just seems like he's there to play. We've seen him be friendly with the newbies. We've seen him be friendly with the OGs. He's he's in there diving headfirst into buckets of weird sludge and like
he's just there to have a good time.
Yeah, I love Taras. I do.
Yeah,
I think he's great.
He is going about this whole game, from what I can see, from the little bit we have gotten to see of him. It just is like, you know what? Odds are I'm going to lose, because that is what the odds are. Odds are you're going to lose this game. Only one person can win. I might as well just make the most of every single experience. And that's what it looks like. It just looks like it's just so nice and refreshing to see somebody who just genuinely looks like they're just having a great time.
Absolutely. And unless something changes drastically, I don't see Taras being in danger anytime soon.
No, not unless you get into a fight with somebody or something to like really pull attention to him. But no, he's just kind of flying under the radar. He could be this season's dark horse. Let's keep an eye on Taras. Let's keep an eye on him.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm a fan of Taras for sure.
Thank God. So I have to readjust this. I feel like I've had this on for so long because we had that stream before this. So Johnson, JC, and Joel on the block. I didn't like. Okay, so after they all found themselves on the block, now Joel goes and says whatever he says to Alicia and snogs her. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
He
didn't
didn't
like
want to miss his
this.
opportunity.
I didn't like this. This just stunk and reeked of like, I so badly want your vote. And I want you to continue to politic for me. It really, really rubbed me the wrong way. Okay, this is a man who literally tossed this girl out of his bed. And
Yeah.
now all of a sudden he doesn't want to miss an opportunity to kiss her. Listen, I'm not saying that Alicia is like some hoe, but you could have gotten further than a kiss that night if you wanted it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This felt like,
and look at Joel. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, like, come on. I'm not saying anything wrong about Alicia now, okay? Because like, if I was in that situation too, my boundaries could be compromised.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
yeah. This felt like damage control.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah, it felt really uncomfortable.
Listen, I thought I was on top. I've been winning all these comps. People are threatened by me. You like me, but I'm not that into you. So, I mean,
but
he
clearly
said,
people like you enough because they voted you to be head of house. So
right.
let me see if I could be. Let me see if I can be the Queen's king.
Right, and like he literally said, he was like, I haven't had the urge to kiss you, and then he followed it up with, I'm sorry to have led you on. I'm sorry. You don't tell somebody, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lead you on, if you like them.
Right. And then several days later, I just don't want to miss this opportunity. Sorry to lead you on. And now all of a sudden it's an opportunity. Yikes.
Yeah.
And then I gotta be honest, I'm really, really happy that Joel ended up leaving.
Yeah.
Because I was starting to question production's judgment here. I was like, this is really giving me creeper vibes. And like, I don't know why you guys are showing me this. Like, because you totally could not. Like, I don't need to see this. Don't show me this. Like, why are you showing this to me? I was like, I hope he goes home. And like he did.
Right.
Because I would have been so turned off to him the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Especially because do you remember in Joel's intro, he either described himself or was described as the perfect boyfriend. That's what Joel, he was like, yeah, people call me the perfect boyfriend. And I'm like, you literally told a girl that has been fawning over you, that you have clearly been flirting with, that like you just haven't had the urge to kiss her, and you're sorry if you led her on. And now all of a sudden you're begging for her to take you back because you're on the block and you might go home. Like,
just disgusting.
That's the perfect boyfriend. I'm sorry, Joel.
Oh yeah, what a stand-up guy. What a stand-up guy. Oh
yeah, like
absolutely fucking terrible.
I mean, the fact that people didn't want to take him out immediately when he was clearly like the best competition, player in this game. The fact that people didn't want to take him out immediately is like astounding to me. Like, get rid of this guy. Nobody can beat him. Like, what is wrong with you guys?
Well, all right. Well, I think the other issue there was that, like, listen, it's such a tricky situation that early in the game because the newbies were getting demolished, and it's like we're losing with Joel. I don't know that I want to vote Joel out because then who's going to fight against the OGs?
Right.
Like, but you don't want to leave somebody like that in. Like, so when is the right time to make a move against somebody like that? And that's tricky.
But I do wonder because Joel was like a clear leader. Like, he wasn't just like a great competitor, but he was trying to like organize people. Where I feel like now with him being gone, maybe it opens things up enough where like certain OGs can work with certain newbies. Or, certain newbies can now work with certain OGs. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the line will be sort of, it'll be erased because this huge threat in Joel that was the leader of the newbies, now he's gone. And maybe it'll open things up more where, like, people can work together that wouldn't normally have worked together.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think that'll be really fun to get into after we cover this second eviction cycle. I think a lot of the events that happened around that will play into exactly what you just said there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very interesting things to get into there. But first, I'm so glad that we got to put that in. But first, I think it's time to surmise some of Sonia's style. What do you say? What do you say?
I'm so down.
You're so down. Guess what else I have? That's an additional surprise for you. We're gonna add some background music for this, okay? You want to yeah, we're gonna have like just a little bit in the background, like nothing crazy, just to jazz it up. But I also
little fashion show.
Yeah, stupid. But I also think I figured out a better way to present some of these things. All right, if you just hold on here.
I'm ready. I'm holding. I'm ready. Whatever you are.
Just keep holding. You just keep giving me a moment. You keep giving me a moment to get it.
Oh, I'll give you as many moments as you need.
Oh, you are. You give me all the moments.
All of them.
Listen. Here's what I want to try. I want to find a way to make her. How can I get her to just be like this? This worked better when I was alone. I don't know how to get because now I don't know how to get away from her. Oh, there it is. That's what I wanted. Hold on. And then I press that. There it is.
Okay.
That's what I wanted.
Oh, this looks fantastic.
See? There it is. There it is. Oh, okay.
Sorry to our audio listeners.
Whatever.
You can't
see this,
but
fine.
it looks.
They love listening.
Looks
to us.
great. Find us on YouTube.
The other thing is like, I like to be there. Okay. I'm just used to having like the logo like blocking part of like my background. So anyway, this is what Sonia wore on Monday. Now you had some comments about Miss Sonia, and you had all right. There's a lot to talk about with Sonia. Apparently, we're gonna get into more than just style. But first, for our Australian friends that this is new to. You know, we like to take the host's attire, whatever they're wearing, their fashion, their style, and give it a hot or not. So, this is Monday's look from Miss Sonia. I am absolutely giving this a hot.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
She definitely a hot.
Gorgeous. I can't imagine anything like not looking good on Sonia, okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sonia she's our Australian queen.
Absolute queen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She looks fantastic every night.
She's everything. Yeah, just beautiful in blue. All right, so that was just one. There's really not much more to say about that. It's just really, really good. It's just really good.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh. I didn't like that.
Too close in on our faces.
Yeah, it was way too close. I have now also the eviction outfit.
Ooh.
Eviction. I guess they're all eviction outfits, but this was yesterday's outfit.
Oh man.
Yeah. Smoking hot.
This is awesome.
This little white number here. It was actually this outfit that made me think, I wonder if she posts some like Julie. I never looked.
Right.
I was like, let me see it. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's here. Let me get my S words in place. Because this is everything. This dress, this suit, this jacket, whatever you want to call this.
Yeah.
Definitely a hot. What do you have to say?
Oh, no, this outfit is 100% a hot. And I have to say that I love your alliteration.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Surmising Sonia's style. Yeah, in Canada, we have assessing Arissa's attire. We need one new word now for Julie, because now Julie judgment is not enough. It's going to need a little more. But we got some time. I heard the rumor was the live move-in is July 6th for BBUS 24. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I saw on the socials. But anyway, so you had some comments about Sonia. You don't think she's as involved?
It doesn't seem like it to me.
Is that so?
Of all the versions of Big Brother that we've watched, I think that Arissa is the most involved. She seems to like actually be like very aware and she seems to like really want to know what's going on in the house and is excited about what's going on in the house.
She
Where
is.
Sonia comes in, it seems like at like very specific moments, whether it's voting for something, an HOH, or nominations, or I feel like we don't really see Sonia live very much. It's all pre-recorded segments, it seems like to me, in a lot of ways, except for the evictions themselves.
Right, but I think it's fun that she really serves as like the show's narrator.
Right, but I feel like there's a lot that we see. If it was a BB US or a BB Canada version, a lot of the things that the host would do, we get from Big Brother himself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get me wrong, I freaking love Sonia, and I think that she's absolutely gorgeous, especially for somebody that's she does not look like she's almost 60 years old to me. She looks like she is. She looks like she's in her 30s to me. So
did you ever look at her Instagram? She doesn't just do Big Brother. Like, she's like a big deal in Australia. She also does like the Dancing with the Stars. She does The Voice. Like, she is like Australia's like HBIC. Okay.
So she is like the host in Australia.
She's it.
So I can understand then why she wouldn't be as active in the Big Brother series.
Right. You're damn right. This is the one format that's not a Big Brother that's not going to be live. Sonia can't be live. You most certainly want her because she's everything, but she can't.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I want to see more of. Yeah, I want to see more of Sonia.
Yeah. I wonder how the finale goes, because even though I did watch one season, it was season 12, and I haven't gotten to the finale yet. Because unfortunately I already know who wins, and I also know who the final 3 is, and I'm down to final 5. So I kind of like don't care anymore. But the problem with that is that now I don't really know how the end of Big Brother Australia goes. I don't know what their end game looks like. I know that once it gets down to final 3, I know the country votes. As we've seen, who wins, you decide. It'd be the country plus those of us with VPNs. Thank you very much. My voice will be heard. But I've been here since day one. I deserve it. I mean, come on. So yeah, I don't know how the end game goes. So I wonder how involved she is like at that point and what that even looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all I mean. I love Sonia, but I just feel like we don't really see her much until like an eviction comes. And like, sure, we get 2 a week in this, which is great. But I just feel like we see Julie, we see Arissa a lot, when it comes to BBUS or BB Canada, and then I feel like in this, and that's the thing. What's funny is like it's not even a criticism of Sonia herself. I just feel like in this version of the show with Big Brother Australia, like we don't see the host very much, and I think part of that has to do with Big Brother being sort of the narrator and being the controller of the
kind of being a character, really, instead of just
right
presence. Yeah, I can.
Which I actually,
that.
Yeah, which I do really like. I like the fact that Big Brother talks to the house guests.
Oh, I love that.
I love it.
I like it a lot.
But I feel like Sonia is a really great host, and we don't really see her much.
I agree with that. I guess you saying that she's just not as involved, even though I guess that I object to your vernacular, because Julie, we might see her more, but when she's actually speaking to the house guests, it's always awkward. It's always janky. She never knows what to say to them. Sonia, the way she interacts with them, you can tell she watches and like she knows things. Like even with that last eviction where like they were talking about the cage, and again, we're getting ahead of ourselves now, but we were talking about the cage and she was like, "Oh, Tim, can you tell me?" And he made the comment like, "Oh, I know I'm usually the person to ask for this." Like the fact that she knows who to go to. Julie would just arbitrarily choose anyone.
Yeah, no, you're totally right.
The person who never speaks up, the person who never tells a story. Hey, why don't you tell us something? It would just be the most uncomfortable thing for so many different reasons. And like, you don't get that with Sonia because she she does have kind of like a beat on what's going on in the house. So
you're very right about that. You are totally right about that. And you know what? That's I almost feel like that's a case of quality over quantity, right? We don't see we don't
that sure.
Right? Like we don't see Sonya as much, but when we see her,
we're getting really getting stuff. Into it. Yeah, we're getting good stuff. Yeah.
Whereas sometimes, and sorry, I love Julie. She's a queen.
Oh, of course we love Julie. Yeah. I mean, Julie is everything. Julie's everything.
But sometimes we see Julie and we're like, Julie, have you been watching what's been happening this week?
Come on, Julie. Like, and I wish we had specific examples of this, but like there have definitely been times I'm just like, you know what? You could just tell she didn't watch this. Because she wouldn't have phrased the question this way, or you wouldn't have asked that person, or you wouldn't have said that at all.
Right.
If you had been watching. Right. Yeah. Right. And it's like production is probably backstage like so stupid. We gotta get back on track here. So
I know. We've where were we? I don't even know.
Yeah, who cares? Honestly, it's fine. It's fine. We were surmising Sonya's style. We were in between eviction cycles.
Okay.
So now we have house nominees. That's really where we're at. And that's why I like to preset these captions. That's why I like to do that. We can go off on a tangent. It doesn't matter because these serve as bullet points, little notes. So the house said, enough of the games. Johnson, get back up there. And then we see Sam as a result of her nonsense with Drew. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's what we forgot to get into. So Drew approaches Joel right before Joel leaves and says, hey, I have this deal for you. I'll help keep you in the house if you can work to get my girl out, being Sam, and I'll work to get your girl, Alicia, out. Because obviously we can't do our own girls in. I have comments on this.
Tell me.
This move from Drew is a move that I will say I 110% support.
Okay.
This is a game. I didn't come here to meet some little girl. I didn't come here to make some little friend. I came here to win money. Like if I was playing Uno and you were doing better than me, I have to make sure you're not. That's the bottom line. I mean, it's a game. It is a game. All this talk about like, you know, oh, that was such a dirty thing to do. No, if anything, I kind of think that's a nice thing. I'm saying, hey, I really like this person. I want to win. I just can't screw him. Can you screw him? I mean, like, what is better than that? So he should just throw his game away because he met some little girl that he's only known for like 3 weeks. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense either. Like,
I do a little bit feel like Drew made a fool of himself, though.
Oh, I'm not saying he didn't make a fool. All right, I'm not saying this was executed well. I'm just saying the idea of it, the concept of it, in sense, because everyone was really like trying to like say how bad of a person he was and how dirty this was, and like I don't really view this as dirty. It's the game. Oh, I don't hear you now, and that's really terrible. Oh, I hear rustling.
Do you hear me?
I do.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, I was like, let me get the background music in between.
No.
Just in case.
Yeah.
I know I'm scared to touch my mic too. I won't touch it.
I feel like Drew got played here. I feel like he thought that he was gonna. He thought he was gonna come in and like push Joel around, be like, "Hey, you got a girl, I've got a girl. Let's protect each other. We'll vote each other's girls out." And it's like,
can I just stop you for a second? It's your verbiage there. It's your verbiage. I just want to challenge it for a second. Like, what do you mean you thought he was going to push Joel around? Like, why the aggression? Why are you putting such a negative spin on that? I don't think he was pushing
Because
Joel around. I think it was an offer.
I think that he thought that he would easily be able to convince Joel, like, hey, listen, you're new to this game and you've got a girl that you like and you don't want to get her out, so I'll do it for you. And I've got a girl that I like, so why don't you do it for me? And I feel like Drew thought that because he's a veteran, an OG, Joel would just be like, oh, yeah, of course, sure, I'll do it. But we saw Joel run right to Alicia and be like, hey, listen, this OG, Drew, he just offered me this deal. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to fill you in on it so that you know that I'm not like a part of this. But like Drew is expecting this sort of thing. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he's close with Sam. And Alicia, you're, as a newbie, Joel saying like, you're my girlfriend in this game. Here's an OG throwing his newbie girlfriend under the bus. You know what I mean?
Right. I hear what you're saying. I see where you're going. I just don't agree. I don't agree that was the motivation or the intention behind it. I don't know. I didn't feel that it was him just thinking that Joel will go for it just because he's an OG. I think that he thought he would go for it because it was a good plan. It was two strong people from two different sides of the house saying, hey, listen, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. We both have to acknowledge that this cannot happen. Like, we can't do these things because you like your girl. You actually like her. We kind of know. I don't. Well, at least we believe. I believe he didn't really. But assuming that that's how Drew is going about this, and he's like, "Listen, I really like this girl. I just can't burn her.
Right.
So let me be the one person that puts a vote in her favor, and let everybody else get her out."
See, I have a problem with Drew because I feel like this was totally unnecessary from him. His side of the house had the numbers. The OGs had the numbers. He had Sam on his side. He was on the side of the house that had this. And Drew decided, he was like, oh, I'm going to go reach out to Joel because he's got a girlfriend and I have a girlfriend and we each can't take out like our own girlfriend. So I'll see if he'll do it for me. And then Joel ended up leaving the house right away anyway. Like, it was kind of like, it's like, Drew, like, you were the one that initiated this. Like, if you go back and look at it, like, it's like,
he is, but it's also like, so much of our conversation has been dominated by what is too early in this. And I think it's also important to remember that, like, this game is not being played like we know. We're losing 2 people a week. When you're talking about what is too soon and what's not, like, I don't know. Like, it's kind of an accelerated game. Like, if you don't start making these moves now, like, before you know it, you're going to be at 8.
I guess my issue is, especially in such an accelerated game, like the fact that Drew is going out of his way to like do these things, like he's making these deals with newbies, but then he's making a deal with like Joel to get his own girlfriend out, but then gets pissed that the OGs want to get newbies out, right? And like that includes his girlfriend. It's just like Drew is all over the place to me. You know what I mean? Like, I can't really understand what Drew's strategy is. He votes Alicia as the HOH, but he doesn't want to piss off the newbies. But he also, I feel like he's all over the place, Drew. Mm-hmm. And then he gets like pissed off that like Tim is like, I thought we were working together. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't understand what Drew's strategy has been throughout this game.
Mm. Okay. I mean, some of it could also just be pandering. I don't know. I so enjoyed that conversation with Joel. I really did. I really liked it.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it.
With some of the other,
it causes drama, but
no. But I'm saying I thought it was good. I thought it was good gameplay. I really did. And I still think that conversation was. However, some of his subsequent behavior. Okay, you're right.
Right.
But very erratic, very scattered. But yes, but I do stand behind the Joel thing. I really do. because again, like the game looks so vastly different every single week because two are leaving. Like it's
Right. I don't understand the reason to go to Joel though, because he's clearly been the leader of the newbies that's been targeting the OGs. And it's like without a second thought, you just like, oh, I'm gonna spill this huge thing to you. It'll be like, let's take out each other's girlfriends and work together. And it's like there was no like reason for it. Like your side of the house, as your Drew, you have the numbers. Like, and then you're just like going over to the newbies who don't have the numbers, and you're like, hey, like let's take out each other's girlfriend. I
right,
don't get
and
it.
you also approach somebody who you've kind of been actively working against the entire time,
right? Like it's
and
not
now
like Tim.
Yeah.
It's not like Tim and Reggie just went home and you're in like scramble mode. It's like Drew was the one who decided to do this.
Right. I also don't think you necessarily need to be in scramble mode to present a deal like that, though. I think it's good planning because that wasn't something that was going to happen overnight either. Like you have to, that was Monday night. Like that could really have happened like weeks down the road, which is sort of how I saw that conversation being. Like that wasn't like an immediate thing. Even though she did find herself there rather quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too because Tim has not been playing the smartest game either, in my opinion.
No. No. Yeah, let's get to Tim. But let's get there correct. Because there's a lot to say about Tim. It'll be so much better once we get to the cage. And anybody listening, they understand. They understand. So the House nominated Johnson, Sam, and Estelle. Whatever, fine. All of this makes sense. Johnson is always going to be one of the people that's on the block. If anybody has anything to say about it, he is the strongest of this now diminished J squad, J crew, J duo. To try to pull in Taras, whatever they said, make him Jaras, whatever that nonsense is.
Oh yeah.
Sam found her way there for all the reasons we just mentioned, and Estelle, well, who else from the OGs would be the first choice? So it has a lot of mouth. And she should probably just be quiet. But there's that. Johnson won second chance challenge.
Yep.
Which, by the way, didn't that look just absolutely terrible?
This looked like the most frustrating challenge I've ever seen. But Johnson was so impressive. And I'm sure the edit might have had something to do with that, but like it looked like he was so solid throughout.
I don't know if the edit did. I mean, he was so far ahead by the end of it. Like it clearly was that,
Yeah.
But like all these things with this height that they have to do that involves this stacking of sticks. Like, oh my gosh, like I can't imagine balancing that. And then through a maze on top of that. Just ridiculous. I
do have a little bit of an issue with some of these challenges so far. I feel like they've all been very physical, which like I don't have a problem with physical challenges, but like let's see like a few more puzzles or something. Let's see, because I feel like there are certain factors that sometimes like listen, everybody has the same advantage. They go into a challenge, they don't know what it's going to be. It could be something that anybody could win at, but I feel like there are certain times that I'm like, all right, enough of the physical challenges. And I almost got tired of like Joel with that because I'm like, he's winning everything because he's the most physically fit person, and every challenge so far has been physical. Give him a puzzle. I want to see Joel try to win at a puzzle, or a mental comp or whatever. Like let's do something other than a physical competition.
Okay. Well, to be fair, what we did not cover. And it's also my fault because I made no captions for it. We totally glossed over it. My bae did win immunity. And that was on a challenge that wasn't really physical.
I feel like that was like the only challenge so far. And we're 10 episodes in now?
You're right.
That was the only non-physical.
It has been skewing a little bit more physical. And I will say that Big Brother Australia does skew that way. you're going to see more Survivor-style competitions on their version of Big Brother. I just want to set your expectations realistically, because that is what I saw, at least in BB12. Well, BBAU 12. Yeah. They do skew a little bit more physical than ours.
Okay.
But it actually is a change that I kind of have welcomed at this point. I'm surprised to see you speak out about it a little bit. But I guess what you're saying does make sense. It does make sense because it takes away from the Lulus of the world to have a shot at winning. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and even like a Reggie who has sight issues.
Right.
Give her some more, some less physical challenges, and
so she has a shot at winning.
And even I know that Estelle won a challenge recently, very impressively. But even in that challenge with the trapdoors, like she said, like she had an injury where she couldn't use her hands for a very extended period of time. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like, sure, she won that challenge, which is incredibly impressive. I'm super proud of her. That's awesome. Like, clearly she's stronger than she even realizes she is, Estelle. But I feel like let's get some more puzzles in here and like more challenges that are not super physical. Where like, all right, these three people that are the strongest people in the house, like physically, they're gonna win this. Nobody else has a chance, because it seems like that's the same thing every challenge. It's like the same order. These people leave. These 10, 11, whatever people leave, and then these three people are left.
We're left with these,
and
people.
We'll see who wins out of them.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I have nothing to say about that. I agree. All of these events led to the eviction of Sam. But Big Brother said, this is party week, bitch. All she had to do was pull a little thing, and she gets to stay.
The whole eviction is canceled.
Now, Big Brother Australia is really good for this. I have to tell you, just from my experience in BBAU 12, when I had hit pause at one point, like to send a text message, and I realized we had a couple extra minutes at the end of this eviction. I said, she ain't going anywhere. And now you had told me that you had tweeted something, and I said, I think I got spoiled. I didn't know this. I did not know this happened. I had muted our own podcast account before I read this.
Because I tweeted a bunch of stuff.
Oh, you did? No, I did. I actually
said to you,
I missed it.
Well, because I tweeted a bunch of stuff, and then I said to you, I was like, listen, I'm tweeting stuff. I don't know if you've watched this yet, so don't look at the Twitter. And you're like, oh, I already muted it, but I was like already preparing another tweet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, no, I muted it, so I didn't know. But I will say my experience with Big Brother Australia led me to believe that there was another twist coming. I said, there's too much time at the end of this. I know something's about to happen. And as she was going down the hall, I was like, this is way too belabored. Something is happening. Yeah. Now, personally, I believe production does this to save people who are drama people.
Yeah, I hated this. I hated it so much.
Oh, you did?
I absolutely hated this twist.
Oh, wow. You did not like the party twist. Tell me why you hated it.
This was such like an emotional and dramatic week. And I felt like the person that got voted out, that got overwhelmingly voted out, 8-4.
I think Reggie referred to it as a landslide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This person should be leaving. I'm sorry. I don't even know what else to say. This person should be leaving. I'm sorry. I hate this. I hate it so much. This might be like my least favorite part of the season so far. The fact that we are, because here's the thing. We get 16 contestants most of the time, right? On BBUS. Mm-hmm. We're already up to 21, right? Mm-hmm. On this season. And
two more are coming.
Else. Yeah, that's what I mean, is that we just had an eviction after a super emotional, dramatic week that ended in this huge eviction, and we thought this person was going home, and now they're not even going home, And we're getting 2 more players. Like, I'm sorry. I'm tired of people being saved and being introduced into the game. That's the one I have loved this season of Big Brother Australia. I've absolutely loved it. I have found it super entertaining. I am in love with Tully. But, like, stop introducing players into the game. I'm sorry. I was happy with the cast we had. I don't need 2 new players coming in 4 weeks in. They've had 4 weeks of evictions that they don't even have to go through. They're just new players in the game now. Like, really?
I have a lot of comments. I don't know where to start.
And the person that was voted out isn't even going home. So it's almost like we have 3 new players entering the game.
That's where do I get to start? Where do I get to start? Because I have so many.
Go ahead, start. I'm sorry, I've gone on too long.
No, you didn't go. You didn't go on too long. It's just that I don't want to forget. It's just that it's not too long. It's not too long. I just have such differing opinions on different things you said here. So like I don't want to forget them. So. Do you ever watch a Black Lady sketch show? Have you ever watched this?
I don't think I have.
That's what I was referencing there. That I don't want to go off on a tangent. We still got a lot to get into. Maybe later. If we remember to. So okay. Where do we start here? I don't love that 2 people are coming in the house. I don't really need that. I think it's exciting in a way, like fun way to shake things up, but I do agree it's a little unfair that they just get to come in late. Don't love that. That feels very much like the circle to me, and that's kind of what turned me off to the circle. I don't really like that. However, I do like people not leaving the house when we expect them to leave, because I feel like that is more in line with a game. Like when I like to picture Big Brother as a board game. And when I picture a board game, like, you're playing Monopoly, you land on a spot that has chance, it changes everything. You land on Community Chest, it changes everything, And I like these twists where we thought we had it. And this is the equivalent of flipping over a chance card and it didn't go the way you intended. Damn, now I got to deal with that. I just feel like it takes some of the emotion out of things and it makes it more like a game. We're seeing humans as players, and that I like. So I like canceled evictions and things like that, because that's what would happen in a board game. If you were playing Trouble, you're playing Sorry, any game like that, there's always something that like shuts your stuff down. All those things that I say, like, this is why I don't like this game. I don't like to play Uno because I don't like people negating my progress. That was always a problem that I had with Risk. I don't like for people to take something that was mine. But the opposite of that is that I do enjoy watching other people get burned in that way.
Right.
It's fun to me. It's a show. It's a game.
Right.
No, everything is not supposed to go exactly right, because if it does, then we just get BBUS. The head of house.
That's true.
Says, I want this person to go, and that's just what happens. I love that what everybody wants is not what they get. I think it's great. It's very fun for this version of it. And I if this was the only version of the show we knew, I think I would drill down a little harder on some of these things. But because we get to bop from country to country and compare all these different things, like, hey, listen, for this version, this is really fun. And then I'm going to go back to America and I'm going to watch what I know. Like, yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I just feel like maybe in the first week or two, the first few episodes, I'd be okay with a twist like this. I just feel like at this stage in the game, it just seems so cheap to me. I just feel like
that's fair.
Like, so many people have left. Like, we've injected people into the game. We've seen people leave the game. Now we have people being voted out overwhelmingly, but not leaving the game. And then we're still introducing new people to the game. And it's just like, when does it end? When do we get to the point where it's like, all right, this is our cast, and now this is the game, and the people that go home, and and the people that don't go home are still here and they're still in it. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like it just feels a little manufactured to me. Like, it feels like if somebody other than Sam, because Sam is in this relationship with Drew, if it had been Estelle going home, she would have just gone home. But because Sam has this extra, storyline with Drew, who happens to be an OG, who's betraying the OGs, it's like, oh yeah, let's keep Sam around. That's what it feels like to me. And I could be wrong, but it feels like manufacturing drama just for the sake of manufacturing drama.
Yeah. And it could be. And I think what kind of makes it different for me, though, like, let's just say that they are manufacturing drama. Big Brother at its core is supposed to be like a social experiment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're intentionally fucking with these people to see how they react. When you end it with the winner is still chosen by the public, the people who watched them behave in whatever way and they did, I think that also levels things out a bit. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I could do without adding new people. I don't really want that. But I also feel like, knowing the little bit that I do know of Big Brother Australia, I feel like these new people are going to come in and they're going to be severely disadvantaged. Like, they're not going to walk in and like everything is just fine. It's going to be like had a house and they're all safe. Like, I don't think that's going to be the situation at all.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to have a rough go in the beginning.
We do have to see, though, because
we have to see.
You know that I love Tully very much, but she walked into the house and was given HOH. There was no vote. She came in late, and she was given a lot of power.
Because she came in alone. If these two are coming in together, I don't know. I just think if two are coming in, they're not quite going to give them that.
I hope
Tully
not.
came in and she had that, and she also had the benefit of like just being one of Australia's golden people. Australia loves her.
I just, I think I might not have been as upset with like Sam's eviction being canceled if it wasn't for these two people being introduced. I have to say, though, I'm very tired of people being introduced into the season. What are we? Are we 3 weeks in now? 2? Is it only 2?
All right.
Maybe it's. I'm tired. I'm tired of it.
Okay. All right. We're sorry.
Because here's the thing. What is this? We were already at 21 people in the cast, right? Are we at 23 now?
I don't know that we were at 21. Were we at 21?
Was
it really that many?
It was a lot of people. A lot of people. Let's see.
Well, this is how Big Brother Australia is played, and I am like, it is. They do have a lot of people, and we're still losing 2 a week. You're so obsessed about this number. Like,
well, that's the thing. But that's what gets me, is that we're losing 2 people a week, but we still have more people in the cast than we started with.
Right. But I know, but you're talking about 2 people are coming back in. Are adding 2. All that did was cancel 1 week. That's the equivalent of adding 1, like from a battle back or something. Like, I think you're just really mad, like for an unjustifiable reason. I don't think it's that angry. I don't think you should be this fired up when we don't even know exactly what's going on with these 2 people. I don't remember what the words were said around
intruders.
Yes,
they're the intruders.
Right, but there was something that was said that implied that they were not just your run-of-the-mill house guests. There's another twist coming. So before you get all fired up,
I mean, there could be, but on the fandom page, they're listed as just like regular house guests.
The fandom don't know nothing yet. All right, it's new. They're not there yet.
They don't know.
As far as we know, they're not there yet. So just
I just feel like
before you have such strong feelings for or against, then let's just see what goes on. We're already at an hour. I really do want to get into one other thing.
Okay,
And I'm like, we have work tomorrow. Like, it's late for us. It's 11:32
it's
p.m.
true.
in our world. Okay.
It's true.
However, I do
We
want to
haven't
get
even
into.
talked. We literally didn't even talk about the cage at all.
No, we didn't talk about the cage at all because you're so upset about these two people coming in the house.
I'm sorry. All
But
right.
like, no, there was something I was going to say. Oh, Tully being so upset about like voting for Sam, like so ridiculous to me. Like, she is so much better than I am. I would have no problem voting for Sam. And not because I have feelings for Drew or anything like that, but just because I just think the whole thing is so disrespectful. Like, get out of here. I just don't want to look at
Yeah,
that.
they're doing
I
that.
was
Like,
very impressed that she had such a hard time voting for Sam.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially because the week started with Tully, like being pretty down. She
Yeah.
was very down about the fact that like Sam and Drew were just like kind of canoodling in the bed right next to her.
Of course she was, because whether or not you
Yeah,
want him anymore is not even the case. It's just the fact that who wants to look at their ex doing anything else
right,
and then live with it? So now
right.
you're also watching them have coffee together, and they're being so annoying. And they probably take a
Yeah,
shower together in the most annoying way. And
right,
then she's probably walking around like, "Oh, I'm about to do laundry. You got any colors?" Ah,
right,
ah,
right, right.
ah.
And
Like, the whole thing is probably just so disgusting.
yeah, and that's part of the reason I've been so annoyed with Drew also, because like, how dare you disrespect Queen Tully in that way?
Okay,
But
well,
like,
to be fair, he had already begun canoodling with Sam before we knew that Tully was coming in the
but
house.
I'm sorry though, I can't accept that. I can't accept that because here
Why
we
can't
are.
you?
Because here we are in the last episode of this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Drew now like crawling to Tully, being like, Tully, I need this, I need this. Well, it's like, all right, well then maybe don't make out with your new girlfriend right next
Right.
to her.
That's wrong too. That's wrong too. But the other side of this is, should now Sam be slighted? Does Sam not deserve the affection that she would normally have gotten simply because this other girl showed up? Like, that's not fair either.
But
Like,
see, but here's the only thing that I'll say is that you can be more tactful about it, especially if you're Drew. Because even that, it was even said in one of these episodes this week. It was like, I think Tully even said it. She was like, all right, well, if they just go to Sam's bed instead, that's fine because it's further away from me. But every night Sam crawls into Drew's bed and Drew is sleeping right next to Tully. It's like, all right, Drew, have a little sensitivity for Tully. Go to Sam's bed, which is all the way on the other side of the room. You and Sam can still share your bed and kiss and make out and do whatever, but it doesn't have to be right next to Tully. Like,
no, it doesn't have to be. But is it also fair for now Sam to always have to be thinking, is this appropriate for me to do here? Maybe I should do this over here instead. Like,
well,
that is not a burden.
if she's thinking about her gameplay, that's part of it.
But this is part of the problem, and this is why this is what makes this such an interesting dilemma. Is that, like, now we are crossing some of these lines. Yes, if you're concerned about your gameplay, fine. But Sam is also concerned about what she believes is a real personal relationship. So in keeping with that, should I now accept less in respect for this girl that you're not with? Like, and now that
But
has to play into every single thing that I do? Like, that's
I
not
mean,
fair to
but
Sam.
see, that's the thing though. We saw how tough this vote was for Tully. Like, she's close with Sam. She has a history with Drew. So I think that Sam should respect that. Don't go crawling into the bed of your friend Tully's ex-boyfriend right next to her. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, if for your gameplay and personally also, if you don't want to ruffle any feathers, you should be more tactful than this. And Drew should know better also. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, did
I hear
you
what
saw
you're saying.
you
I
you
do
saw
hear
how
what you're
broken
saying.
up?
I just don't also believe that this should be Sam's burden to carry. Like,
But
y'all
I
had a
think it should be
relationship that ended years ago. So now,
right.
because you guys are now not in a relationship that ended years ago, I have to now think about what bed I
Right.
sleep in. Like,
I agree with you if we're talking about a normal outside world relationship, but we're talking about something that's going on within the Big Brother house where people are competing for a lot of money. So you do have to be mindful of these things. Like Tully,
you do, but to be fair, you're also not really. You're saying this. You're using the gameplay as something now to lean on to bolster your argument. But what your original argument was based on the disrespect you feel Sam is shelling to Tully. And there are two different situations. I don't necessarily think, I think for her gameplay, it's the wrong move. But I think in terms of what she's doing behavior wise, it's not disrespectful. I'm the one in the relationship. Why do I have to change my behavior in respect for you? And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Tully in a relationship now, like outside of here?
that's true. That's true. That's true.
So you're in a relationship outside of her, outside of here, which has nothing to do with here. So now this one person that I just met, that like in a place where I have no friends, where this other crazy man just left me, I now have to watch how I'm showing affection to this person and where I'm showing it in respect for you, who is already in an established relationship.
Right.
That's just it for personally. Gameplay wise, I do agree with you. Not smart. Because at some point when the numbers get whittled down, it's going to be very easy for Telly to say, well, fuck off. Get the hell out of here. You know, she ain't going to be crying about that in a few weeks, you know. But
right.
Personally, I don't know. She shouldn't have to think about all those things. That's not fair.
No, it's true. You're right. You're right.
That's hard to switch gears too. She wasn't even thinking those things before.
And it's funny because I did make a note about this. I feel like Sam has probably had the roughest time in the house of anybody else.
By far. Yeah. Can you imagine being Drew telling her, listen, we were showing this kind of public affection to each other, but now Tully's here, so stop. I need you to stop.
Right.
Can you imagine hearing that?
Right. And that's just the Drew Tully stuff too. I mean, that doesn't even include the fact that she had all this trouble with Josh in the beginning. Somebody that she knew prior to going into the house that was like obsessed with her, who she wasn't totally interested in. Sam has had that whole silly
relationship that got her on the block the very first time.
Right. Sam has had a very rough go, so I can't really fault her, but I do fault Drew, honestly. I think Drew has made a lot of mistakes. They might actually end up working for him in the end, because I did criticize Alicia also for telling Tim about the Joel Drew deal before anybody else, because I felt like, Alicia, like, why would you tell Tim that? Like, he's going to go and use that information. But based on what we saw in this episode with the cage, the party cage and all that, like, Tim might actually be the one that's in trouble from it.
I think Tim is in big trouble because of that cage. Everything that went on in that cage did not work for Tim, okay? And he did the very, very best that he could to kind of control the damage around that. But, like, when Estelle looked at him and was like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
that was his biggest mistake.
Oh my god! Like, I cannot believe that he said that he would vote for Estelle. I can't believe he said that.
Exactly.
Although I can, because like that, it is the game. You can't win if Estelle wins. It has to come to that point, and it's like, so when do you do it?
Right. I don't think he should have done that in that conversation. Like, he dropped a bomb to Sam. He was like, listen, I heard about this rumor. And he told the rumor about the deal between Drew and Joel. I feel like if he had just dropped that and been like, oh, but I don't know if it's really true, he would have been okay. But the second he started dropping the rumor about the deal between Drew and Joel, and then said that he would vote for Estelle if he had to, it's like, you're doing too much now. If you had just gotten into the hot tub and been like, oh, by the way, you didn't hear about this deal between Joel and Drew? Like, it might have worked a little better, because you wouldn't have had that ammunition then, but to go after like Drew, Tim's OG, allies. You wouldn't have had that ammunition. It would have all just been about Drew making this deal with Joel that Taras has heard about also, and other people in the house know about. You know what I mean? Like, the second that Tim was like, oh, well, if you need me to vote for Estelle, to work together. Like, that was his big mistake, I feel like. If he wanted to plant a seed, yeah.
Yeah. Very messy, very messy. And being in that cage really, really blew everything up. It just really did.
Yeah, that was the worst thing. And it's so funny because Johnson and Drew were literally 33. That was it. They guessed 20,021 pieces of candy.
Oh my gosh, yes, from the panic room. They had
Yeah.
to count every single piece of candy. And
they
see,
were
and this
only
is where
told they were only told they had to count it after they ate a bunch of it.
as they already ate some of it. So the fact that they were only off by like 30, I thought
They
was
were
impressive.
only off by 33. By 33.
But I think was impressive. But I also do think that like this really does speak to Big Brother Australia and how production does like to meddle with things. Because this was absolutely done to force this cage situation. This was done to force this situation to happen. And I think when you see that that's how Big Brother Australia goes, you'll have a little bit of a different appreciation for some of these moments, like the addition of people, the cancellation of evictions, because it is treated very much like a game. It just changes your view of the whole thing.
I just, a lot of times I might not mind for a canceled eviction. I might not be like upset about it. I just felt like this particular episode this week was so dramatic. It was so emotional. These people were stuck in a cage for 24 hours. All the dirty laundry was aired out. The votes landed where they did. It was an overwhelming eviction, 8-4. And now this person just gets to stay here. Plus, we're introducing 2 new people to the game. And I'm just like, somebody should have gone home this week. I'm sorry. It was too dramatic. It was too crazy of a week.
You're so mad that nobody went home. You're so mad. I loved it. We get to see Sam live another day and just stir up all this crap. Like, you think this Tully and Sam thing is over?
No,
absolutely not.
But that's the thing. I'm not saying that I'm pissed that somebody just stayed. If we had the week we had and then Sam got to stay, I'd be like, oh shit, I can't wait to see what happens. But it's clear that the production, when they showed us, coming up next week, the big thing was, 2 new people are coming to the house. It's like, no, I want to see the reaction of the house having Sam come back in after they just voted her out overwhelmingly. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see these 2 random strangers that we've never seen before. They're just now coming into the house, and they're the big story. The big story should be that Sam just got voted out. Sam, who was the girlfriend of Drew, who has betrayed the OGs and gone to the OG side. And now his girlfriend, who just got voted out after he desperately tried to save her, she's coming back in. Yeah. That should be the story.
Right.
Drew and the Newbies
I hear you.
versus the OGs. But now the big story is these newbies, Brenton and Jules, whoever they are. Now that's what we're supposed to be excited about. These random people being injected into the house of a show that we've been watching for weeks. And that's the big story. Brenton and Jules. It's not that, like, Sam somehow avoided eviction after overwhelmingly being voted out. She's coming back in. The house is going to explode. Oh my God, Sam's coming back. No. We're worried about Brenton and Jules. Who the fuck are they? Who cares?
Yeah, but that's the thing. And this is because this is your first Australian season. I got to tell you, that's not going to be the main story. It's not. It's not. That's going to be like 10 or 15 minutes of an hour and 15-minute episode. Ain't going to be it. It's not. Like, that's just not. There's just so much that happens at all. Then that's rude because they didn't do anything to you. They no, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be great because you're getting the best of both here.
I don't like it though. I mean, we've been invested in this show for weeks. We've been we've gotten to know these players. Tully was a very late entrant to the game. And Tully is like my favorite player in the whole game.
You're saying very late. She wasn't that late.
But I mean, I'm just saying in relation to the rest of the house guests.
Right.
She was introduced very late, and I'm glad that she was, because I fucking love Tully. She's like my favorite player in the house. But at this point in the game, I'm sorry, like, you're giving other players extra lives. You're bringing new players in. It's too much now. There's too many.
So what happened? Where was this energy when Trevor, Layla, and there was somebody else? Drew. It was Drew.
Right.
You didn't say boo about them coming in. You were like, oh, that's fine.
I thought it was early enough in the game. We've had how many people have left the game now? Joel, Laura. We've had how many people left the game? I feel like at this point in the game there should be no new entries. When Tully entered, it was still a very new game. You know, Lulu had gotten a second chance. Like, it was still very early in the game. This feels too late in the game to introduce two new players, especially after a person that just got evicted didn't actually get evicted.
I don't disagree, but I also just very much trust in the Big Brother Australia concept and their format that this is not going to be a bust. Like, they don't. It's just not. I don't know. It's just not. It's not going to be bust. Like, they're not going to be the main story. They're going to have a massive disadvantage. I don't think this is going to be the smooth assimilation into the house that you're expecting. And I guess that's why it doesn't upset me as much, because I don't think they're going to have an easy go. I don't think they're just going to be strolling in and just going to open up the pantry and like make a sandwich. Like,
I don't know. I for some reason I have a weird feeling that they're going to be introduced into the house and then like have a power of some kind.
And we're just definitely on different pages, because even you saying that, I'm like, ooh, I would like that. I almost hope so. I almost don't. I don't want them to be disadvantaged. Okay, I do want them to have a benefit. I think that shakes everything up. I don't want to hear about Drew and the Newbies. I don't want to hear about the OGs. I don't want to hear about Newbies. I don't want to hear Drew and them. I don't want to hear about them alone, and I don't want to hear about OGs. I want to see everybody mixing lines. And if you're adding two people, what I mean, and give them a power, that can give me that. So I
feel like we already have enough intrigue. We don't need to introduce two random people that haven't played the game at all over the last 4 weeks that we've been watching. Like, I feel like there's already enough going on. I'd rather see what's playing out with the people that we know, that we've been following. I don't need Brenton and Jules to shake things up.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's only fair because that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I mean, like, we'll see what's going on. I mean,
listen,
very strong opinions, and we don't know what's happening with these two people yet.
Right. They might not even be real players for all we know. They might be coming in for some weird like twist, and then they're gone the same night. But I just feel like, all right. And you know, if it's done the right way, maybe I'm totally wrong. And next week we'll be talking at the same time, and I'll have a totally different opinion. I don't know. But I just feel like, all right, it's enough introducing new people into the game. We've had enough of it. I enjoyed the sewer twists with Drew and Trevor and Layla. I absolutely loved Tully coming in because I love her and I'm rooting for her for the rest of the season. But like, enough now. Who the hell is Brenton and Jules? Why do we need them? There's enough going on in the house. We just had
maybe you'll like them too.
Fight. What's that?
Maybe you'll like them too.
It's true. Maybe I'll love them by the end of the season. I don't know.
I'm surprised you remember what their names were. I know who they were. I was like, whatever. I'll see you on Monday. I was like, is there going to even be an episode on Monday? It's Memorial Day. Australia.
All I remember is Brenton coming in with like a tuxedo or something.
Maybe.
And I'm just like, I thought we had our cast. I thought we knew who the players were. There's more people coming. Aren't we like a month into this? Like, you know, like that's how I felt. I was just kind of.
You're just being a sassafras. You're just being a sassafras.
No, like.
Well, whatever. We already know. All right, so next week, you're not looking forward to Brenton and Jules. Like clearly, you're not interested.
Listen, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying, like, if they wanted to play, like, maybe bring them on next season. We've already had like 20 players for this season.
But you didn't realize that I was trying to wrap up. All right, it's 11:52. And I'm tired of talking about two people I haven't even met yet. So they're coming in the house, like it or not.
We still didn't even talk about the cage, by the way.
We did talk about the cage. We did. We talked about how Tim's
kind of.
Well, I'm done. I don't want to talk anymore. It's 11:52. I've had enough. It's time to go to bed. Sorry.
It's late.
Yeah, it is late. So thank you to all us, all of you who hung out tonight. Yeah, we're done. What are we looking forward to next week? Certainly not Brendan.
Tully. I love Tully.
I am looking forward to our new entrance. Okay, I'm looking forward to Sam re-entering the house and seeing what that looks like. I'm excited, even if John isn't. It's still gonna be great.
I'm excited. I love this show.
It might be a solo podcast next week.
No, I'll be here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Listen. Here's how I'll end my night. I love Tully, and I don't care about Brendan and Jules.
I think you care a great deal. Actually, I would actually challenge that and say that you care a lot about Brendan and Jules. You are very bothered
I do.
by these two. Yeah,
too much.
Yeah.
It should not be allowed in this game.
Except they're coming anyway.
Yeah,
and we'll be reviewing it all next week at 10:30. Well, our time. Whatever that is, your time. Just hang out with us, all right? This is Jury Duty. Find us in the socials, BB Jury Duty. We're out of here. Thank you so much.